Today's show is sponsored by the ABV Barrel Shop. The ABV Barrel Shop is located in the St. Louis metro community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on one thing, single barrels. Best of all, you can try before you buy. Head over to abvbarrelshop.com to sign up for their email and text distribution so you know what they have in stock, what classes are coming up, and who from the industry may be coming in to visit. The ABV Barrel Shop. It's where single barrels live. We're also sponsored by the Bar to Go. The Bar to Go offers traveling minibars that are no bigger than a small purse or toiletry bag. Best of all, they are fully customizable so you can create the perfect piece that is unique for you. If you own your own business, what a fun and unique way to promote what you do. Check them out online at thebar2go.com. That is the number 2 in the Bar to Go. If you have wholesale questions, call my friend Isabel Clark at 504-481-1297. Finally, we are sponsored by the Neely Family Distillery. NFD is a family-owned business that keeps ringing up awards in the spirits world. Head to Sparta, Kentucky to experience the family history, award-winning spirits, and meet the Neely family. Check them out online at neelyfamilydistillery.com. Now, on to the show.
Let's drink!
Welcome to the Bourbon Daily, the podcast about everything bourbon delivered to you every day of the week. Today on the show, we let Lenny discuss Buffalo Trace's new online shop in layman's terms. Not of that industry jargon bullshit. My name is McNew. Please join me, my co-host Steve Bagley, along with our special guests Tim Swaya, Luke Otero, and Lenny Eckstein.
Hey gang, what's up?
Hey, everybody. Hey.
Hey-o. So yeah, I had a Christmas vacation quote in there, but McNew blew over that one. So,
I fucked it up.
Yeah.
Oh, wait. No.
Yeah.
You did.
Yeah, Lenny can explain this to us, though. He says he thinks it's really easy. To me, I thought, Buffalo Trace has got a new shop, and it's like where you can buy some of their most expensive coveted bottles. And then I start reading the instructions. I'm like, I don't know where to begin to do this. What, do I have to hire a broker? I'm not sure what's going on here. It's not like just go in there, point, click, check out, use PayPal. No, it's different. So Lenny will explain this to us. He says it'll make complete sense. It's easy. He even says. So we'll see if he can get through.
Story time with Lenny.
Yeah. But before we get to that, Tim said there's something he wanted to talk about. What is that, Tim?
All right. So, yeah. All right. Are you when you're? I did a road trip recently, just a short one, about a 3-hour road trip, and I spent time to get the car all cleaned and everything like that. And that first bug hits the windshield, and I go absolutely apeshit. I know it's gonna happen, but like because then the general's like, then she's like, "Oh, are you upset about this?" Then she puts a fingerprint on the windshield on the inside.
Oh,
and I absolutely lose my.
That's diabolical. I love it for it. Love it.
Oh, does that bother you? Then she puts another fingerprint on there. Then the kids start marking up the windows on the inside, and I'm like, oh God, I'm about ready to pull this car over. And so I did. Yeah, I pulled the car over. I cleaned the windshield, cleaned everything, and I kept it going. And so, am I out of my mind? I know I'm out of my mind on a lot of things.
Right.
I have a lot of OCD or whatever you want to call it on a lot of this stuff. Judge Joyce and I can relate on a lot of things and how we look at the world. Man, are you a windshield clear person? Like you have to have that clean, or can you sit there and have it being trashed up and still drive and focus? Especially the one doing the driving, not a passenger person, but if you're doing the driving,
okay.
Do you need to have some order when you're doing it, stuff that you can't control or not?
Yeah, I'll say that. Yeah, like a dead bug on the window bothers me. Not where I'm going to change the course of what I'm doing, but I do make sure that I clean it at the next. I get out at the gas station, I'll grab it. It's to me, it's like if you got a little piece of food stuck in your tooth and your tongue just won't leave it alone. You're just like, all right, I can't even address this right now. In 30 minutes or whatever, I'll be able to get up. I'll get a tooth. Your tongue won't quit. It'll be like, it's still there. It's still there. I'll be like, in 30 minutes, I'm going to fix this. Nope, it's still there. I just checked again. It's still sitting there. There it is.
Yeah.
But if you get tagged by a California condor bullshit, like bird shit sized big huge blotch, is that just like drive you nuts or not?
No, you got to pull over and fix that.
Okay.
That's different.
I mean,
you got to fix that. That's different.
Huh. I bet it wasn't that bad. I'd love
was
to
going to say.
Yeah.
I mean, it probably
Tim, I wish I could be on your side at least one time in our lives, but
We're never gonna. I'm gonna find it, Luke. We're gonna find a common ground, and
Okay.
we're gonna give a hug, and we're gonna be all right.
and that'll be great. But I'm like Steve. Next stop, I'll clean it.
Yeah.
There's a lot worse things in life, and that's certainly not one of them.
Right.
To get my blood pressure going.
Yeah. Yeah. We got enough other problems.
I'm bothered by it, but Tim, did you say a 3-hour road trip?
It's a 3-hour road trip. It wasn't anything. That's nothing for me.
that's a day trip.
Yeah.
That's not even a
Yeah, I
road.
call that a commute.
Right.
But,
It's a commute. Okay, fair. It was about maybe 197 miles.
Okay.
Okay.
So
Highway drive.
That's like 2 hours, right?
Yeah.
Or no, I guess that's 3 hours. That's 3 hours, yeah.
He's in Chicago traffic, though. We'll give him that. His traffic's different. Okay.
I drove from Buena Vista to St. Louis a few weeks back and then back home again. And a lot of times when I do that, I'll take Amy's vehicle because it's the most suitable for road trips. And when I do, I get in there and have to clean out like hoarders volumes of napkins that don't need to be in there.
Okay.
The straw wrappers. Straw wrappers.
Well, Legos, because my kids, I don't know what the hell he's doing with Legos, flicking them everywhere. Winter clothes, as if I'm going to crash into a blizzard this time of year.
Sure.
Ice scrapers. I pull everything out. I armor all the inside of the vehicle. I clean the outside of the vehicle. I Windex the windows. So yes, the first bug splatter does annoy me, as soon as it starts raining, and now the car wash is ruined. So I don't know if you guys remember, or if maybe it happens always, but it rained every fucking day in Missouri. It felt like.
Right. Yeah.
So I went to a car wash every other day I couldn't deal with it.
Right.
Now, this isn't somebody I don't typically care how perfectly clean my vehicle is, but on a road trip, it kind of has to be dealt with.
Yes. I every gas station, I'll clean the windshield if it needs it. And I'm going to take out all the trash. There's going to be no trash. I don't want to sit in bags of chip bags and all that bullshit piled up around me. That's all going right in the trash. It's convenient because you can just hit the gas, let it pump, and then do all that stuff and get it done.
Yeah, I'm with you on that because I'm notorious for my back seat is littered with water bottles. All the time. But if I'm going on a trip,
bottles.
I know
Larceny bottles.
plus hours. I clean out all my trash, all my water bottles, everything in the back seat, clean it out. Because I'm going to spend 3 hours in here. I want it to be nice. I want it to be clean. I want it to smell good. The windshield, though, when I'm driving, I don't care. If somebody else is driving, it makes me nervous because I'm like, can you see? Is it good? Are you gonna wreck? Are we gonna die? I trust me. I don't trust other people. This is a wild accusation.
Again, considering your history, I would trust the other people, not you.
Even you know how I drive, but I'm just hey, even if it starts to rain, I'm hey, the wipers aren't going fast enough. I am a fucking annoying passenger princess. I'm can you make this go faster? Do you want to clean that up? I'm annoying. But if it's me, I'm nah, that's fine. I can look around it.
It is. Yeah.
You know what gets me more than anything? I catch my kid touching the roof liner of my vehicles.
Yes.
And I'll see him in the back seat, and I'll be like, hey, I see what you're doing. He's like, what? I'm like, you were touching the roof liner. He's like, no. I was like, I watched you touch it.
No, I wasn't.
That is a thing with kids. My brother and I did that. My mom had this Jeep forever, and we would just poke it. You'd see our little fingerprints into it.
This is so annoying. They're flipping the oh shit handle in the back. If you got one of those that just kind of flip and automatically they'll flip that. Oh my God, I've got problems. Now, Lenny, you mentioned something that you take your better half's car because it's more conducive for road trips, or it's because you just don't want to put the miles on your own car?
Both, but her car is halfway to self-driving, and I take full advantage of that to the point where I've almost fallen asleep while it's driving.
That's good. Yeah.
That's great.
Oh,
That's
perfect.
awesome.
Yeah. All right. What kind of car is it, Lenny?
It's a Telluride.
Tell you right. Oh,
yeah, nothing that awesome, but it does drive really well without me doing anything.
Yeah, that's a good road car.
I have to touch the steering wheel a couple times.
That is a good car. All right.
Yeah.
On that note, guess what, gang? It's time to drink. What is everyone drinking? Let's start with Luke. Luke, what do you got?
Well, I'm finishing up the night with that 14 from Jack Daniels.
Raffle win.
Oh,
there it is.
There, that's the one. That's the one you've been looking for,
winner.
Luke. Right there.
Is everybody okay?
Huh. I've got for Gokin. Gokin gets so angry. He wants me to bring this in the shop so he can drink this JD 14. And it's here at my house. So this is going to be a cheers to Gokin. I've got my JD 14. So let's see what we got here. That's what you have to look forward to, Luke. That book club goes away real quick. Yeah. So nothing going on there. All right, Tim, you're next.
I'm rolling with some Leopold Brothers 3-chamber rye, number 1 edition, -1. It's white on the set.
All right, nothing there.
Damn it.
Yeah, it's too bad. I just ordered some. I did an online Leopold order last night. I got some stuff on the way from them, including some 3-chamber. They got the 3-chamber online right now. So yeah. Lenny, how about you?
In an effort to give some redemption to Leopold Brothers, I've got the maybe arguably lesser, but still awesome Leopold Brothers 8-year bourbon finished in 3-chamber rye barrels.
That stuff's fantastic, man.
It's
I love that whiskey.
spectacular.
That is a great whiskey. No, nothing there. Maybe some desk. That's about it. Yeah. All right, Luke still has the lead, but McNew has a chance to win this thing. What do you got, McNew?
We'll see. I have a Starlight Blackberry whiskey out of Southern Indiana. We'll see.
No.
Mr. Otero.
Mr. Otero wins it. Cheers to him.
Thank you. This is really good. Gosh, it's good.
Yeah, it is. That is amazing stuff. The 14, if you can find it. If you have the means, as Ferris Bueller said, pick one up. So there you go.
What does it cost, if you don't mind me asking?
Just a few rounds.
150 bucks.
Okay.
That's like the retail price of that.
Then I did really good.
Mm-hmm.
Yes, you did.
Yeah, you did.
You got yourself about $400 worth of whiskey sitting there.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. You sure did, buddy.
Luke.
Not too bad. All right, and
Remember
it's
that
more than that
liquor
on the it's more than that on the secondary too, Luke. There's a secondary for that, so it's more. So yeah. All right, we'll take a quick break, and then when we come back, Lenny's going to take us to school. We'll do that in just a few. Okay, let's talk about the people that make these shows happen. First up is the Stave and Thief Society. Via their in-person class at Moonshine University in Louisville, Kentucky, the Stave and Thief Society is the place where you, a bourbon enthusiast, can expand your knowledge and emerge an executive bourbon steward. In 2017, I completed my executive bourbon steward certification. It's the most comprehensive bourbon certification available and connects you with an expansive network of bourbon enthusiasts and professionals. Check out the full listing of in-person and online certifications and join the society today by enrolling at staveandthief.com. Speaking of executive bourbon steward certification, the ABV Barrel Shop in St. Louis, Missouri has developed a unique partnership with the Stave and Thief Society to offer a preparatory class to assist you in getting your executive bourbon steward certification. This prep class costs only $25 and is available to take live or online via Zoom. Graduates of our class receive a coupon code good for 15% off your executive bourbon steward certification held in Louisville, Kentucky. This saves you almost $90. Additionally, you can collaborate with fellow attendees to split travel costs when you go to Louisville. If you're interested in signing up for the class, simply head over to abvbarrelshop.com and check out the classes and events page. Last but not least, we are sponsored by Neely Family Distillery. Royce Neely is the 11th generation distiller in one of America's oldest distilling families. A visit to Neely Family Distillery takes you through family history, where you can see all the artifacts and newspaper clippings through the years from this family that started distilling in America after James Neely arrived from Northern Ireland in 1740. Today, Royce Neely and his team are crafting some of the best spirits in America. Their bourbon and absinthe offerings keep winning top honors in the spirits competitions. Recently, their absinthe made history as the first platinum winner in the absinthe category at the San Francisco Spirits Competition. Neely Family Distillery is definitely a bucket list destination if you are a bourbon fan. Learn more about their spirit offerings, visiting their facility, and the wards they have collected over at NeelyFamilyDistillery.com. And now, back to the show. All right. Grab one of those. Oh, boy. Oh, God. It's George T. Stagg we just throwing around here at the ABV Barrel Shop. You're listening to the Bourbon Daily.
Welcome back to the Bourbon Daily. Today, Lenny is teaching us all about Buffalo Trace's new online shop.
Yes, we are. So, Lenny, I saw this article, and, they've got that group called The Last Drop that does some really high-end releases and stuff like that. It's not owned by Buffalo Trace. It's just an alliance, kind of like Pappy is. Pappy's isn't owned by Buffalo Trace. It's affiliated with them. Same type of thing with The Last Drop. And they said you could buy some of the stuff from them online as well as some of their highly coveted stuff. And then I click on this quote-unquote article about the store, and I don't understand any of it. I don't know what language it was in. And I think it was English, but I just never saw those words put together before, as they were saying. So how does a store like this work? Why would they do something like this, Lenny, as opposed to just paying a dollar amount and that's it?
All right. Well, let me first start by saying I have no idea how I got nominated to be the one to decipher this for everyone. But I have a little bit of experience here.
Exactly. So I'm familiar with your experience, so I thought, let's put it to use.
Maybe made some bad NFT investments over the course of history, but hey. So let me back out a little bit and say, I've I don't know. God, I don't even know where to start. Okay, so you guys, when people say they're kind of confused by these things, I'm going to give a couple examples of things that are similar. Steve, you sell memberships to the Crew Club.
Speakeasy?
Is that right?
The syndicate. The
syndicate. Thank you.
Yeah.
And in getting that membership, you are entitled to various opportunities and experiences.
Yes.
That's the way a lot of things that have been sold in utilizing blockchain for authenticity work. Now, you don't have to authenticate these things because it's a small group. But when you have a really large group, how do you handle authenticity? And if it's a bottle of whiskey, in some cases that could be necessary because there could be counterfeits. And there's reasons for other cases. Furthermore, I'm going to give another parallel. If you're going to buy a used vehicle, you might look up its Carfax report, which is whether it's a bomb-proof, reconciliation of where that vehicle's been or not. It at least says like, oh, hey, this vehicle's been in an accident, or this vehicle has 3 owners. It's a way of discerning a history of something.
Correct. Now, not necessarily 100% accurate, but
not 100% accurate.
Right.
But
someone has a wreck, just knows a buddy that has a garage, pays for cash for it themselves. That's not going to go in Carfax.
Exactly.
So, yeah. Right.
But if it was handled with blockchain technology, and again, whoever's listening to this who might be an expert in this field, please realize I'm a fucking idiot. I don't know.
No, you're the expert. You.
I know that a tiny bit more than anybody.
You are expert.
Okay. But, so if Carfax was handled with blockchain technology, it would be more reliably authenticated in that the information would be stored in multiple places and would be way more infallible than it might be already. But for the most part, we trust it. So if you have something that is more infallible and, would be linked to a purchase of a bottle. So if we're buying, what bottles are for sale, I see they have it broken down in like ultra rare, harder to find, easier to find. If there's like, Steve, you might want a bottle of Stag,
yes.
George T. Stag. You at first would have to say, well, is this even a real bottle? You might then also have to say, can I even get this bottle where I live? Like, what if I want it? Can they ship it to me? What I'm kind of fascinated by, and I don't have the answer to this, is does this circumvent a lot of the liquor laws where while you are buying ownership of the bottle, you're not necessarily saying, I'm ordering that bottle, I'm clicking this, and you're sending it to me. You have a a line of ownership to this product, and it can be stored somewhere safe. And, I'm assuming that's the case in this instance. You could go and retrieve it. You could potentially have it shipped to you. I'm not sure the details there. Or you could sell it without any kind of confusion of, are you selling it? Are you not selling it? I think it's just like the most modern and trustworthy way of fighting fraud that we could potentially have is
Okay.
Yeah, you hit it best. You hit it.
Yeah. So I get that part, Lenny, but you said something and got it back just a little bit.
Okay.
How do they navigate through the different states of the liquor laws? Because I can see, and probably in some places it won't work. I mean, where's the taxes going to be collected?
Sure.
I get the authenticity part, but
I don't actually understand the authenticity part, because supposedly this is an online store affiliated with that distillery. If I buy Deer Hammer products from Deer Hammer, I'm under the assumption automatically that they are Deer Hammer products and they're authentic. So to me, that's not even in my mind. Now, if I'm just going on Facebook and buying something, sure, I'm open to getting fraud and problems. But this is supposedly the Buffalo Traces or Sazerac's store for this stuff. I don't understand why we even have to talk about authenticity.
Ooh. I feel like there's two questions here. One is I can't speak to state laws, but when I first saw this topic and started digging into it, my thought was, and I kind of said this earlier, I feel like there's some level of circumventing the state laws, because
that's what I thought. That's what I think this is, right?
Because you're buying an item, but it's not necessarily about taking ownership of the item. It's like you're buying. It's almost
token,
like
for lack of a better word. It's a token, or
an ETF or something. Like, you don't own the company, but you technically own a portion of it. In this case, you own it wholly, but you don't have to have the bottle in hand. And I guess, again, I'm kind of talking out of my ass, but you then have a chain of ownership to it, or a line of ownership to it, where when you want to redeem, you can prove that with your wallet that's on your phone. It's authenticated. I don't know. It's interesting. Again, not an expert. They should probably call in and give a better explanation, but I'm intrigued by it.
No, Lenny, so you hit it right. So the blockchain is a digital certificate of authenticity.
Yeah.
So we normally would have a certificate of authenticity signed by somebody who verified that you can track back, say this item is certified. So I go back to that liquor store in Manhattan that was filling in old Pappy bottles, and then they sent it in. They had the barcode, because there's a laser barcode on the bottles that Sazerac has put on there that you can actually track back to the dump dates and everything like that. There's a code on there that you can follow back onto it. This is now directly from Sazerac, a specific digital certificate of authenticity that you can buy an interest in. So I'm looking at the website right now. There are a number of states that cannot be shipped to. So they tell you exactly where it can be shipped to. And it says your order may be subject to local taxes and duties upon arrival in your country, which are levied once the package reaches your country. In other words, tariffs or whatever may be associated with that. And then it goes down to states too as well. So if I'm in Illinois, that's a supported state, they can ship to me. But if I'm in Alabama, that's not a supported state. So I have other options of where I can pick this up. I can pick it up at what's very interesting here, airports. Duty. I don't know if they're duty-free shops or
duty-free.
I mean, it can't be duty-free because I could go to John F. Kennedy. I can go to JFK in New York and pick this up. I can go to Laredo, Lincoln Street, 802 Lincoln Street, and pick up this bottle if I want to, in Laredo, Texas. I mean, it's amazing the number of airports that you can go to and pick this stuff up. I mean, there's probably 40 airports here and international as well, which is very interesting to be able to get it. So what I think really gets, this is a combination of the blockchain digital certificate of authenticity process. So there's a unique code that's specifically to that bottle that you can use to verify that bottle is actually what you purchased. But then you can also settle that transaction in credit card, wire transfer, or Ether or Ethereum.
Yeah.
They're only using Ethereum as the supported cryptocurrency to convert US dollars or euros or Thailand bahts, whatever. Pick your
Not hot to a
currency.
coin.
Or Ripple. You can convert your Ripple to Ether, then you can transact that and pay for that in the spot price of Ether at that time, which brings a whole new confusion. Which I get where you're coming from. Like, I just want to pay for the dollars, and how do I get it to my house? So if you're in Missouri, according to their website, you are supported shipping. They can ship to you in Missouri. So what's interesting is they don't say where this entity is located, because it must not be D.C. If it was Washington, D.C., then pretty much all 50 states are available.
Right.
But I'm looking at, like, there's international, like Poland, Puerto Rico, Qatar, Romania, Russian Federation, Rwanda. There's all these international jurisdictions that are listed on this website that they're not supported for shipping. So why would I if I'm a Hungarian citizen buying on this website, I win an auction in Hungary, they can't ship it to me. But I could go to an airport and pick up that bottle physically.
Right. But the other component to this is, and this is where it gets dicey and where the legitimacy of making sure it's authentic comes into play. Again, I don't think it comes into play. If I'm buying a Buffalo Trace bottle from Buffalo Trace, I don't think it's a big deal. But you can sell through there then. And again, yes. I don't fully understand how that works, how that's legal. But it because I don't have
buying an interest. You buy an interest in that bottle, and they'll secure it for you at Block Bar. Their
right.
LLC,
their partner.
Block Bar.
Yeah,
exactly. And Block Bar will then they have that digital certificate to say that you own this bottle of 27-year-old last drop Buffalo Trace. You won this auction. You were the owner of that bottle. We will secure that bottle for you. If you want to list it again in another auction, you could do so because you're the owner of it, and here's your digital certificate to track that down to verify that. It's crazy. But yes, now you're talking about ownership of a bottle that you never see, but in a digital space, using the Ethereum blockchain to verify that transaction.
This is very expensive whiskey too.
Yeah.
I don't understand how the tax collection works. Do they handle that? And again, so if I do this, if I'm lucky enough, I get one of the last drops, 27-year-old bourbons and I buy it for $1,500, but I put it out there, and there's someone who in Baltimore, Maryland wants to buy it, and they're willing to spend $7,000 for it. And I go through the process, whatever that complicated process is to do that. They buy it and it becomes theirs. I don't know. Obviously, I have to claim that on my taxes at that point, right? The profit that I made. How about the taxes? What happens with that?
When you say taxes, Steve, are you talking about just like typical standard taxes or alcohol-related taxes?
Alcohol-related taxes. What about sales taxes?
I think it circumvents the alcohol-related taxes in the sense of
like,
what if you forget that it's whiskey and alcohol and think of like, what if it's a painting?
Mm-hmm.
It's like an item of value that people want, and it's a mechanism for transference of ownership via whatever the market will bear.
Right. I'm still not sure about that because
I'm not sure either, but I think it's like almost getting ahead of, I guess, like modern.
I mean, I who wants that tax money? The state of Illinois. There's nobody better than the state of Illinois of assuming that they want their sales tax on everything. I would guess they're going to want some sort of alcohol tax. They gotta. There's some
they're threading the needle, Steve. If you take possession of the bottle, there is a sales tax to you. Mm-hmm. If you do not take possession of the bottle, that is now an investment. It's no different than buying a share of stock. No different than buying a painting. Lenny, you hit it right. It's probably the best quote would be buying a piece of artwork. You don't pay any tax on that until you take possession. If you choose to flip it, which they allow you to flip it, let's say you buy it for $5,000 and you sell it for $7,000, that difference is going to be capital gains tax.
Exactly.
So this is a private investment. You're truly, I mean, you're bringing alternative investments, private investments to the mass affluent individuals, and mass affluent defined as somebody with a net worth of, 100,000 plus. But you're bringing the ability to that. I mean, it's amazing. But I mean, what's already out there's auctions open right now for, you want to buy a bottle of last drop 32-year-old single malt Irish whiskey. The auction right now, last price is $2,500. If you buy it, you're the owner of that interest in that bottle. But unless you choose to take possession, that's where the sales tax would come into play. But if you decide to flip it and put it in an auction again to try to get more than $2,500, now you've got a capital gains tax. They'll issue a 1099 miscellaneous, probably would be my guess.
And what's potentially interesting, if it works this way, is it might not even have to go to auction per se. You could just get offers.
Yes.
Which is kind of right. Somebody could say, like, I want that. I will offer you this much, and you could decide if you want to sell it or not.
This is a whole new frontier. But to your point, Steve, I don't think the government even has their arms wrapped around this yet.
Right.
Say they're going to want their piece. And there's too many open holes here on this one. It's like when you buy a car, do you pay the sales tax on the car if you take possession, or if you have it sit on the lot and then you flip it? I don't know. Artwork's probably the best option. It's probably the best equivalent in that space. I think, Lenny, you hit it best. This is like artwork.
But
unless you take possession hanging on a wall.
Is there artwork that is held by someone else? I mean, and I'm
Absolutely,
not talking about
the auction houses. Yeah. Yeah. Sotheby could be the custodian. Yeah.
Really? That you never had possession of it. I mean, I get using Sotheby's to sell my stuff, but how am I getting things to Sotheby's that I've never even had possession of? Where are they coming from? I'm talking about art here.
Yeah.
Where I don't understand.
Somebody had let's say they had a Picasso they found in grandma's basement for some reason. They bring it to Sotheby's to auction. They put a appraised valuation on it before it goes to auction, and that's what marks the market to the price of that painting, that piece, that art piece. Right. And then whatever they auction it for and sell it for, that difference could be a capital gain or a capital loss.
Yeah.
So they've already owned it. They've already purchased it some way, shape, or form, or were gifted it.
Sounds pretty
complicated. Go take their taxes on capital gains, capital loss. There's how your hedge fund managers and how your top 1% work in capital gains versus ordinary income tax or sales tax.
Here's the deal, guys. I bought $270 worth of whiskey from Leopold Brothers just last night. I have not taken possession of this. If you guys would like to make an offer on that, I would be willing to divert that shipment to you for a fee. I just want to buy a damn whiskey. I don't understand what I got to do all this
Here's
shit.
where it is. Yeah. Yes. If you want to buy whiskey, this is what I think what they've created is a formal exchange.
Right.
They've created a securities exchange of buyers and sellers in the digital world using the blockchain as the certificate of authenticity and allowing credit card transactions to settle that transaction, wire transfers, or Ether to do that. They're accepting Ether to make it sexy.
What's a more crooked business than all these Bitcoins and all that kind of shit? I don't know. I mean, people lose millions and millions of dollars on this stuff. This sounds like they're dancing in that world now.
I don't any different than the stock market. I mean, I don't know shit about shit, but I'm like, you threw your money in there. It's your loss. You put it in the stock market, you lost. You put it in crypto, you lost. Your fault.
I think it's different because we're talking about a known item, and it potentially has. I think there's always a world and an opportunity for counterfeit, but it also has the potential for authenticity guarantee, access guarantee. I hate to say like a vault of sorts, but isn't that what's the name of the company? I'm looking on the site now, but if there's a secure place that
the market,
I mean,
use BlockBar as the custodian. It seems like.
Yeah, I don't know about this notion of like there's various locations you can pick it up, but if there is a known secure location, I don't know. I kind of like that idea. Like if I wanted a certain bottle, I'm like, I am willing to pay that much, and fuck all if you can't ship it to me. Next time I am in this state, I will pick up this bottle I kind of like that. It just feels more secure.
This is a legitimized secondary market.
That's what it is.
Yes. That's a great way to put it. Yeah.
But
legitimized to a certain extent, because I think there's a lot of questions on the taxes situation here.
Right.
They want taxes on each of these transactions, some way, shape, or form.
Yeah.
Whether it be capital gains or a sales tax.
Yeah.
Tim's got a financial background, and I would assume this stuff makes sense to him. But the average whiskey drinker just wants to buy a bottle on the secondary. You might be opening yourself up to a can of worms and not even realize it when you start playing around with that stuff.
Well, in this case, I mean, you're talking. It's assuming they're a 1099. This could be a K1 situation too, as well, depending on how it's structured.
Right.
Which is a whole nother tax. That's with limited partnerships and everything, and that's a whole nother ballgame. But this here is already. I mean, the question is who owns all these bottles? If this has not been sold by the distributor if this is not coming from a retailer, somebody's got to get that sales tax. To your point, I think these are already owned bottles by somebody who bought all these bottles. They're in a vault someplace, and this is a way for them to be able to dump them on the market.
So okay. Again, we're not taking possession of this. So I buy a last drop 27-year-old. I think it's a great investment. I'm going to hang on to this. I think it can only go up in value, and this place that is facilitating this, because again, I don't take possession. You guys are telling me I don't own this. It's not my possession. They go out of business. What happens then?
You would still have ownership. You'd have a creditor interest in that bottle, assuming that it's legitimate.
So that means you
paid out
get
with that bottle or the dollar amount of your price that you bought it at.
Yeah. Have you ever been involved in anything when someone's in bankruptcy and put your claim in? Mm-hmm. Guess what you get? Probably nothing, or pennies on the dollars. Yeah. I had a landscaper come in, and he did a quote for me. Wanted half down. The next day, he filed for bankruptcy, and guess what I got? I had to go to court like 3 times and try to chase this shit, and then it finally just was like, I'm not even doing this anymore. I got nothing. I just gave up all that money.
And you have no landscaping,
right? Yeah.
Yeah.
And I had to testify against this guy, I was like, because of course his story is you can't take money knowing that you're going to file for bankruptcy. So he had to come to me at 2:00 in the afternoon saying things are going well and all this, but then the next day, bankruptcy. He couldn't. If he would have said, I knew the next day I was going to take that money, but I knew the next day I'm going to file for bankruptcy. The check didn't even cash. I just give me my goddamn check back. I'm out. I lost all that money. If it goes to bankruptcy, by the way, if this place that's holding all your bottles goes into bankruptcy, folks, you can say you're in line for all this you want and all this, you get nothing. You get literally zero.
Yeah. You're right. I mean, like metaphorically, and this isn't the best example, but like if you drop your car off at an auto body shop and they go out of business, but the car is sitting there, you call the police and say like, hey, that's my car. This is the VIN number. And they're like, yep, that is the VIN number. This is your car. Come get it. That's sort of the concept with these bottles. Like there's a way to trace it.
You think?
Now, doesn't mean anybody's going to care to.
I think it's owned by the court really at that point. Because it's an asset of that company. So it becomes, if it's not yours, again, we've talked about it's not yours. If it's yours, you got to pay tax on it, sales tax, because it's not in your possession, right? It's an asset of that company that has declared bankruptcy or gone out of business. So the court's going to decide what happens with that.
Well, you're spot on, Steve. So there's a Chicago-based auction house that's been written up recently here. They just started up, and they've got a warehouse, a secured warehouse, this, that, and the other, doing exactly the same business model. It's an online auction site that will secure your bottles. You can actually bring your bottles in for them to auction and all that. This is very simple. This is exactly similar, but it's obviously Cesarx behind it, and it's got a fancy name. I would say it's arguably somewhat of a similar business model. But to your point, what happens at that, wherever this place is custody, whatever your whiskey is custody that you bought this bottle from, let's say all that inventory was sold underneath your nose, you don't know about it, they go bankrupt, whatever it may be, you got to assume that they got an insurance policy to make you whole, at least with dollars, or you got nothing. You're absolutely right. This could be absolutely fugazi.
Right.
They could be absolutely nothing here. Maybe there's nothing there behind the scenes. This stuff is scary.
Yeah.
And you don't know what their insurance is. If their warehouse burns down, do they have the liability to pay you out? So while you bought that 23-year-old Pappy Van Winkle, or you brought it into them and it's sitting there waiting to be auctioned, and then they don't have the liability insurance to recover that, the commercial lines to cover it. There's a whole host of issues here, due diligence that needs to be done in the entity itself and what they're doing to insure themselves.
So what I'm hearing is that I can buy bottles through the blockchain at the ABV Barrel Shop starting tomorrow.
That's right.
Correct.
Using Fartcoin.
Okay.
Yes, yeah, we're handling that. So yes, we're one of the hubs where you can pick up your stuff. So yeah.
We probably lost people out here, but if there's any PSA, there are auction houses popping up all over the place. So there are auction houses that they've been doing this for years and have formal processes, and there's auction houses that may not necessarily have the best formal process. If you are looking to sell your whiskey as an investment, be very careful. Know what you're doing. Do your due diligence, and it's caveat emptor out there.
Yeah, for sure. Well, I don't know. You can't think that somebody's too big to fail anymore. When we saw, we saw some of the big companies that name baseball stadiums and stuff like that going out of business. There's nobody that's too big to fail. So you just be careful.
Some would argue if you have institutions that are too big to fail, you don't have capitalism. So there's a managed capitalism. That's a whole nother debate.
Yeah. So I don't know. It's not for me. It may be for somebody, particularly if you're like investing and playing the markets and all that kind of stuff. This is really what the play is. I don't think it's about the whiskey at all. It's about investing and
this is speculative investing.
Right. Yeah,
complete speculative investing opportunities.
Yeah, and I don't think it's a bad thing when you're talking about the last drop whiskey. I think that's kind of what that's the field they're playing in. So, I think that it's okay for something like that. But it's not an opportunity. When I look at it, when I saw the article, it's like, oh, here's an opportunity for maybe an everyday whiskey drinker to get something that is at retail that could be worth some money, and
Right.
you get it. Maybe you get an opportunity to drink it, or if you want to then flip it yourself or whatever, you can do that. But it doesn't sound like that at all. This is
No.
this is stock market type of stuff. So yeah. So
I do want to thank Lenny for explaining.
Oh, you did a tremendous job.
oh my God, Lenny just
Yeah, I shed all the light.
Lenny's corner. We're gonna have a new feature where Lenny shares investing insight for
Professor Eckstein.
Lenny,
Yeah.
you.
Well, so there you go.
Come out with the next meme.
This
coin
just
for
proves
sure.
that the secondary market is so crazy that the companies are trying to take it in their own hands and manage
Yes.
it themselves.
Yes.
Yeah.
Which that's what it screams to me here.
Yeah.
Which means that it's hard to keep your arms around a secondary market that is very ripe with fraud as it goes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Scary out there, folks.
Yeah. I think if nothing, I don't think we accomplished what we set out to do, but I think we did a good job of explaining there's confusion to this. It's not just an online store like the article makes it seem like. It's there's more to it than that may have tax consequences, could have legal consequences, could have consequences that you might not think about initially. Things about what happens if they go bankrupt and stuff like that. So just proceed with caution on anything. So just if it's right for you, research it first. Do your due diligence for sure. So there you go. All right. On that note, we're going to wrap this one up as we always do by talking about where people can find us. Tim, we'll start with you. Where can people find you?
You can find me on Instagram at SwyGuy2112 and on YouTube at our flagship whiskey.
All right, Luke.
You can find me on LinkedIn, and you can find us on Instagram at Santa Fe Boutique Wines.
All right, Lenny.
You can find me and the rest of Deerhammer on social media at Deerhammer, on the webs deerhammer.com, and you can come visit us in beautiful Buena Vista, Colorado.
All right, McNew.
You can find me with the show being 1,000% over my head and on
Nonsense.
don't know what's happening.
I don't know what's happening. She just wants to buy a bottle of larceny. I mean, for God's sakes, what's happening? Yeah. Yeah. All right. For me, I'm an easy guy to find at Steve Akeley, Twitter, Instagram, or Facebook. I've got a website, steveakeley.com. We've also got a company website. That thing's abvnetwork.com. Check that one out. Everything that we do is out there. Also, come by and see me. I'm hanging out at the ABV Barrel Shop. I was there all day today. Would have loved to see some of you folks come strolling in the store. It's always good to meet new people and have whiskey conversations. So please think about doing that if you're ever in the St. Louis area. You can find us at abvbarrelshop.com. McNew, anything else to say before we get out of here?
I'd like to remind the audience to please give us a 5-star review that includes comments. It helps new people find the show, which is very important to us. And if you like what we're doing, we ask that you please visit our Patreon page at patreon.com/the ABV Network.
Great job today, gang. For audience, we'll have a brand new show for you tomorrow. Looking forward to that. Until then, take care, everybody. See ya.
Bye.
See you, everyone.
See you guys.
See ya.
Peace. Before we let you go, let's talk about one last thing. The ABV Barrel Shop in the St. Louis community of Arnold, Missouri. The ABV Barrel Shop is focused on a couple of things. First of all, single barrels. We are the place where single barrels live. We go to distilleries, taste through the whiskey, select the best barrel, and have it shipped to our store where we present it to you, our customers, by allowing you to try before you buy. We're also known for the classes that we have in our education center in the store, as well as the events we have with industry professionals from the bourbon business. If you are in the St. Louis area, please come by and visit us at 6 Fox Valley Center in Arnold, Missouri. Or at a minimum, at least sign up for our email and text distribution so you know exactly what's going on in our shop over at abvbarrelshop.com. This is Steve Akeley, owner of the ABV Network, signing off. We thank you for listening to our programming and truly appreciate your support.
The Bourbon Daily is part of the ABV Network. For more information or to become a sponsor, please visit abvnetwork.com. Thanks for listening and cheers.
This has been a Steve Akeley production.